So y'all broke up and then y'all were still hanging out because he had become friends with your friends. Did he have his own friends?
No,
I
no, he
knew
didn't.
it. I knew it.
No, he didn't. The second boyfriend didn't either. This needs to be red flag number one. Can we maybe make this a
Yes.
law?
Yeah, that's why
Can we
I
maybe
had
make it a law?
to ask.
If he doesn't have any friends, run
Leave him
far
alone.
away.
Cause
Run
that
far
you
away.
know you are not about to be his everything and his nothing at the same time. Cause that's what's going to happen. He's going to look at you like you're nothing, but make you convince you that you're his everything. Stay away. Like, so what are your friends like? Well, I don't really have, okay, I can't, we can't, this isn't going to work out. Politely, respectfully, this is not going to work out for me. Oh my gosh, I knew it.
Yep, no friends.
Well, guys, welcome back to another amazing episode of the Can Be Broken podcast. I am so pleased, honored, and privileged to share with you guys another amazing, beautiful, gorgeous, vibrant, luminescent light. The world knows her as Natalie. Pew, 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 pew. Confetti, 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 confetti. Natalie, girl, how you doing today?
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Oh my gosh, it is our honor. It is our privilege. And I just want to say in the beginning, thank you for your transparency and your willingness to share your story, because I know that not only does sharing our stories help us along our own healing journey, but it also helps others on their healing journey. And hopefully, some of these stories will actually help people avoid having their own foolishness to
Yes.
go through and
Yes.
deal with it in their own lives. So thank you for taking your time out to share this moment with us. And we're just going to hop right on in there. My first
Let's
question
go.
for you, Natalie,
Yep.
is growing up, how was life as far as relationships are concerned with your parents or with friends or family? Like, did you grow up and see any kind of abuse that you're aware of now then, or was it
Mhm.
kind of just like a loving environment that you grew up in?
Well, that's really interesting that you asked that because in my during my healing journey, I tried to get to the root cause of why I was attracting these types of relationships into my life, and it did come down to my inner child, right? So it is something, a pattern that we learn when we do grow up. So it was very interesting because there was no divorce, there was no, there was no arguments, there was no abuse in my house. My parents worked really hard, so they were working most of the time, right? So it basically came down to the fact that my parents were out working and they were quite emotionally unavailable to me as a child. So I do believe that that's where the pattern kind of started, where I was taught that, my emotions were maybe not important, or I wasn't able to express myself emotionally when I was a baby. So that's kind of where I got to with the root cause of that. When I was growing up, when I was 13, I was sexually abused. So by some boys at school. So this obviously didn't help either going into relationships growing up. And kind of, it makes you think that it's your fault. You don't really have much self-worth. So that definitely inflicted it. So it was how I was brought up, but it was more so how I was shaped in my teens because I was 13. Then basically after that, I was groomed by boys, by older boys. Every relationship I've had since then has been abusive emotionally. Um, so yeah, that is kind of I didn't have the worst childhood. My parents had money. We went on holidays. We had great Christmases. They're still together. There was no divorce. But it was more so the emotional side, which I think is really interesting because we seem to bring up our children these days in an environment that we think is safe. Sometimes it's not. To the eye, it looks safe, but sometimes it could be we could improve, right? So yeah, that's kind of the backstory there for me.
And I'm glad you said that, because as a mom, I have three young kids. And as a mom, I try to do my best to make space for their emotions, but it's so important to be very
Mhm.
intentional about that, because you get overwhelmed, you get overstimulated, and I catch myself cutting them off sometimes when they're talking about something that's important to them. But at the moment, I'm just like, I just need, so I don't yell at you. I need a break. But it's a good reminder that it doesn't, even if you are growing up in a loving household, two-parent household, the emotional connection is so important and so necessary. And we don't have a safe space, especially for boys, but even still for boys and girls, it's so common that there's not a safe space for you to actually verbally express your emotions and then them be received in a way that makes you feel comfortable enough to express them again.
Yes,
So,
yes, I believe so.
gosh.
Yeah.
So
It's
that's
very
what,
interesting, isn't it?
yeah, that was your beginning. Mine was like, I got into situations because of insecurities. You found yourself in situations starting because you didn't have a space to be able to express your emotions, even though you were in a loving household. Wow.
Yeah, yeah. I think
Wow.
it also it comes back down to generational trauma as well, because then I went back to how my parents were brought up, right? My dad, he was taught hard work, right? He obviously he's a man, so he was brought up in an environment where they prioritize work over
Mhm.
emotions. They prioritize work over mostly anything else, right? So it's kind of, I don't blame them or anything. I kind of have gone back to how they were brought up. And then on my mum's side, the same thing. They were brought up in an environment where they had to work hard. So the generational trauma is actually a thing. And it is really important that now I've come to the stage where if I do decide to have children in the future, I will know I would, like you said, I will know to be very cautious of. It's almost scary to think to have children. I'm terrified to have children now. Um, that you have to be careful with everything that you do. Like it can't just be hard work all the time. So it does go back to how they were brought up as well. So I do have understanding and acceptance and forgiveness and things like that. I don't blame them for that.
Yeah.
But it was really interesting to go back into how they were brought up and how they then gone on to teach us as children. So that was really interesting.
And there's so much that's missed. One, because of the generations before us, it was a lot of hush hush, don't talk about this, keep this private. And that, I
Yep.
think it's partly because of the embarrassment and the shame, but then it's also partly because of like the perception that you want the world to see you as and not know what's really happening. And so when they, or the thought that I'm protecting our children from something, and we don't have a full grasp and understanding on just how much our kids feel and see, even when we think that we're keeping something or hiding something from them. And that's one of the reasons, like, I'm doing the podcast, because I feel like if these conversations were had in our households and really talked about, a lot of the abuse that's being experienced for boys, girls, women, and men, I believe it wouldn't be to the magnitude that it is. But here we
Yeah, I
are,
hope so too.
you said exactly the thing. It's a lot of generational trauma, a lot of generational
Mhm.
curses, a lot of things that are passed on, or, yeah, passed on from generation to generation, whether it's intentional or unintentional.
Yeah, yeah. It's really, really interesting what generational trauma does to people. And I think that also, our parents grew up in a very different time to now, right? There was less money, it was very different to what it is now. So thinking that we can also bring up children how we were brought up, I don't think either is the correct way to
Hmm.
go. So
Yeah.
obviously I don't have children and I'm terrified to have children because of things like this. But yeah, it's really interesting to see how each generation is brought up and how that affects you. And even as a baby, even as a small, small child, I'm doing
Hmm.
lots of inner child work now, and I'm even doing inner child work of me. You go back into when was my first memory of me having my emotions dismissed? I can remember
Hmm.
wearing a nappy. So I was baby, I was a baby.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting how, like you said, you think that they can't hear you or they can't feel things, but they can. They can feel the emotions. So yeah, it's really interesting. I really love talking about this because I like investigating things and learning more about, human nature and things like that. So I'm really glad to be here. Thank you.
Right. No, thank you. Thank you. So you mentioned that part starting in your household, just from the fact of you not having a space for your emotions. But then you turn 13, and these are boys from your school.
They were older boys than me, so I could have been 12, I could have been 13, I'm not quite sure. But these boys were from my school, but they were a lot older than me. So I may have been 12 and they would have been like 15, 16-year-old boys.
Wow, really?
So they were a few years older than me. They still, they were still young boys, but they still knew they should have known that I was young.
Yeah, you're 12, 13. You're sixth grade, maybe seventh grade. 15, you're at least in ninth grade at this point, maybe 10th grade. So there's a huge gap in maturity, or supposedly a huge gap in a lot of different things. And my question was going to be, before you shared their age, how was your interaction with them prior to the incident? Were they like, did they act like they didn't see you? Y'all didn't really have a type of interaction? Were they acting like they were your friends? Like, what was that relationship that was with them before they abused you?
It was definitely coercion. It was definitely them pretending to be my friend, pretending that they were either attracted to me, or it was them probably pretending to be my friend. They were a bit older than me, so they were cool to me, right? When you're that age, older boys and girls, they're cool at that age. So it was definitely lots of coercion and lots of manipulation and lots of them pretending to be my friend, pretending it was okay, and I was manipulated into doing things that I didn't want to do, and then I didn't tell anybody because I believed for years and years that it was my fault because I didn't say no, or I didn't. So that was really, yeah, they were pretending to be my friend. Let's say it like that.
Did you have any friends your age?
I did, yeah. Um, this was when I first moved to Spain, so there was also a language barrier as well.
Mm-hmm.
So the friends, I didn't have a lot of friends because I had just moved to a new country as well. So that was quite interesting. I was in school with friends and people that didn't speak the same language as me. So there was also a language barrier apart from, you come to a new country and you've got no friends, and all of a sudden these people want to be your friends. There was girls involved as well who were friends of the boys. And
Really?
I was just, yeah, I was bullied from then on after that because of what happened, basically. So, yeah, it was very interesting. Mm.
So how did what role did the girls play who were friends of the boys in this whole situation?
Making friends with me, basically. So there
Okay.
was a group of friends who were girls and boys, and the girls would make friends with me. Um, they were older than me, so there was a group of maybe the boys were a bit older than the girls. I would have
Mhm.
been 12, 13, and the girls maybe being 14, 15, and the boys, 15, 16. So there was a big group of people, and it was the girls who kind of made friends with me, and then I wouldn't say that the girls were not present when it happened, but looking back as an adult that I am now, I do realize that the girls knew what had happened, and they would have known at that stage in their life that what they did was not right, right? Because
Mhm.
brought me into they almost brought me into a group of friends, um, me thinking that they just wanted to be my friend and they would be nice, whereas they kind of brought me into an environment where I was vulnerable and it was dangerous for somebody my age. So that's how the girls were involved in that.
And then after, because the incident only happened once, correct?
It happened on two occasions. So first time it was two boys, and the second time it was one boy. So it happened two times.
And after that happened, you said that you started getting bullied. Were you getting bullied by all of the people in that group, or was it people who were outside of the group that had found out about it also?
Both, both. So the boys had told their friends, and of course, it wasn't like there was at that age, nobody said, yeah, but she's 13, she's 12, nobody. no boy at 16 is going to go, yeah, but that's wrong because she's a little girl, or no girl and no boy were going to say that. So it kind of it wouldn't have got around to teachers or anything like that. It was more so the people in the school had found out and they probably made it out as if I was partaking in it because I wanted to be there. Looking back on it
Mhm.
now, that's kind of a story that happened. Um, so yeah, that's basically, and that then the bullying, the feeling isolated, the language barrier, that then has shaped every relationship I've had with a man since then. Like I haven't been in a happy relationship ever in my life because of this specific incident, which is really sad.
Gosh, that's a lot you just said. New country, no, you don't know anybody, a language barrier, like all of these things. So,
Yeah.
how, if anything, does change? How does it change once those guys graduate? Because they're a couple of years older than you. At some point, they got to graduate. Does anything change at the school for you in a positive way after that?
Probably not. I think when I see it now, I I moved here when I was 11. It happened when I was about 12. So I've been here maybe like a year and a half. I still didn't speak the language. After that, I continued at the school. I learned how to speak the language because obviously at that age as well. The benefit of having these friends who were not my friends was that because there was a language barrier, I learned the language quicker, right? So that was maybe
Mhm.
one positive. Um, but nothing really got better after being at school. What kind of happened is my grades were not very good, A, because of the language barrier. And what happened was I realized very quickly that unless I became like them, I was going to get eaten alive, basically. So I turned into a rebel, basically, at school. I quit class and not go to school and, stay out with one of the girls who was also a rebel. And I turned into a rebel at school because I didn't have a choice. I wouldn't say a bully. I didn't become a bully, but I've never been a bully towards other people. I either became part of the pack or I was eaten alive by the wolves, basically. That's how
Mhm.
you could say it. So school didn't go very well for me, to be honest. I can read and write, thank God. I'm very good at spelling. I'm very smart and intelligent, but yeah, school didn't go really good for me
Mhm.
because of that.
It's amazing how much the social interaction plays on our education. So I'm a school teacher now, and I have the privilege of watching how our students and how our young people interact and engage, and how those interactions, engagement with other people who come to school from households that have their own trauma situations, how it changes the trajectory of what this student could be doing, or how much this student could be applying themselves in a better way. There are so many distractions simply because all of these different environments are poured into this one location, and these kids are with each other every single day, and you as a teacher, you don't always know the bullying that,
Yeah.
like, it's surprising to find out how much bullying goes on and how much somebody's talking about somebody when you got adults all around. Like, kids are so sneaky and so stealthy about how they pick at people, and it's something that needs to be, I don't know. I don't know how you fix it. How do you create, how do you convince a child? Because we're having this conversation as adults, and it's like, well, how do you convince an adult to feel safe enough to share their story? Because adults bully other adults, and you have so many times when someone does come out and say, this happened to me when I was a child. Now people are talking about you and criticizing you. Well, why are you just now talking about this? And that happened 20 years ago. Like, so many, it's like, who do, so it's just a
Where do you
lot,
start?
it's a lot to hear
There's a lot.
what we're going to hear from you about what you've been through starting off as a young kid, and how that environment shifted your education sense. Because I think you
Yeah.
know, even though you were in a new country and you had to learn, there was a language barrier. If you had a healthier environment, your schooling would have been different.
Yeah. Yeah. Very
So,
interesting.
did you get into any relationships or did you find yourself having any boyfriends while you were still in high school, or did all of that come later?
Yeah, I did have a boyfriend in high school. I had um, just a normal, regular relationship in high school. Um, and then the toxic relationships came when I was in my 18, 19, 20s.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of when when I was old enough to live with someone, right? That's when
Mm-hmm.
I think the toxic relationships happen. You can be in a toxic relationship, not be living with someone, but the abuse starts when you live with someone, I think. So when I was able to live with a partner, that's kind of when toxic relationships started, and they just got worse every relationship I had, basically, until I was able to come out the other side and instead of chasing someone to love me,
Mm-hmm.
asking the question, why is this happening to me? Which is when everybody wakes up, right? That's where you get to the stage
Yeah.
of waking up and healing, is when you turn the question back onto yourself and say, hey, wait a minute, why
Mm-hmm.
is this happening to me? So yeah, my relationship in high school was just a normal relationship, and then
Okay.
the abuse basically started when you could live with somebody, basically.
So you turned 18. Did you go to college or the university?
No, I didn't. I actually I was bullied so badly that I left school when I was 15, so I didn't go to college.
What did your parents
I did.
say?
Um, my parents, they were. I told them I didn't tell them about the abuse until 3 months ago, basically. But they did know about the bullying. They did know that I was being bullied and things like that. So that's how I was able to kind of leave school because I was being bullied. They knew that I was being bullied, basically. So I was able to leave school because I was being bullied at school. And then um, I went to, I didn't go to university, but I did like a course for beautician. So I became a
Mm-hmm.
beautician when I was 18. So I'd left school when I was 15. And then I got a job straight away because, like I said, my parents were very focused on work. Um, so
Mm.
I was bullied, and then I was sent to go work where the bullies were, basically. So
Oh my
I got,
gosh.
yeah, I got out of school away from the bullies, and I was sent to work where the bullies were, basically. So there was no escape for me, and then I was just pushed into survival. It was
Mm-hmm.
just survival from then. I've been in survival mode since I was like 12 years old, I think. Um, so yeah, I went on to study beauty. I became a beautician, which I've done since a few years ago,
Mm-hmm.
which that was good. I really did enjoy that. I did get a really good job as well. I worked my first ever job when I was 15 was working as a waitress.
Mm-hmm.
And then I worked in a solicitor's office for 3 years up until I was 18, which is when I was in my first abusive relationship.
Right.
And I didn't enjoy that. It was very boring. So that's when I went to school and studied beauty. So I didn't finish my school. I didn't finish high school. Um, and I didn't go to university, but I did go on to study something that I enjoyed. And then
Yeah.
in terms of work after that, I've always done whatever I've wanted, and I've always had really good jobs and worked wherever I wanted. So in terms of work, I haven't had a problem. Um,
Mm-hmm.
because I get the work ethic from my family, right? Maybe that's why.
Right. You saw it
But then
growing up.
in terms of relationships, not very good.
So you're out of school and you're working. And once you turn 18, you're just like, Mom, Dad, I don't want to live at the house anymore. How do you meet this guy that you end up moving in with? What is that? Take us back there if you can remember to what that looked like.
Mm. So this guy lived in a town away from me. So he knew what my story was, right? So I was labeled. So since the age of 12, 13, when this happened to me, I was labeled. I was given a label, and this was who I was, right? Supposedly. So
So people
yes,
outside of the school know what's happened to you.
yeah, because it's a
Oh
small
my
town. It's a very
gosh.
small town. Yeah, it's a very small town. So this after that, after what happened when I was 12, 13, the experience that I've had with men is that I've just been manipulated into either sleeping with them or that's the experience I've had with men. It's funny I don't hate men. I actually don't
Mhm.
hate men. It's funny that I don't because the only experience I've ever had with men apart from my father is them wanting to get into my knickers, basically. So
Yes.
I've had a lot of experience with men in that specific place. But this guy, he knew my story. He was from a different town. He approached me um, after I'd left school, and by this time, I clocked on to why men were interested in me. I already knew from then that it wasn't because I was smart or I was interesting or I was, it was only they were only interested in me because they thought that I was going to give them something because I was easy or because of this label that I had. I know, crazy, right? I
I
don't
just
think I've
hold
had
on,
enough
hold on,
therapy.
wait,
I
Natalie.
don't think I've had enough
Wait.
therapy.
Let's pause right here for a second because it blows my mind that on the one hand, men have expectations when they get to a place where they're ready to be someone's husband or they're ready to settle down and want a wife. They want their wife to be so pure and not have been involved with too many people, preferably a virgin, and all these things. But before they get to that place, they're completely open and okay with, let me see how many people I can find that are going to be easy to sleep with. It's like you're sleeping with these women and then you're expecting there to be more women available for you later when a lot of y'all have the same mentality. So because and I don't want anybody to miss this. We're
Yeah.
we're 12 we're 6 years, 6 years from the moment that you were first manipulated by a group of people into being sexually assaulted in a school.
Hmm.
We're 5, 6 years out. And that incident, even though you left the school because of continued bullying, is still prevalent in your life. And people are still trying. I get that it's a small town. I get that. But
Yeah.
like nobody thinks that 5 years later someone's changed or doesn't like I don't know. My brain just can't wrap
No.
my mind around why. And then if it is a small town, why y'all want to be with the same person anyways? Help me understand your standards as a human being. If this is what you
Yeah.
really think of this woman, why would you
Mm.
you're talking about her behind her back. Like you're spreading all of these rumors. You think the rumors are true. So why even that speaks I just need, I know I'm going off of focus for a moment, but I wanted to
No,
just
no,
sit here
no.
because
You're
how
wrapping your
people,
brain around it.
yes, how people treat other people is a reflection of their character, who
Then,
they are
yeah.
inside. And it's like you're thinking this about her, even though it's all a lie, but the rumor has
Mhm.
been, well crafted and spoken so many times. It's like an urban myth, right? Like a legend, like people believe certain things about it and you still like that's your go-to. It speaks a lot about who you are as a young man.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
you're 18 and the guy
Yeah.
who approaches you as you find out later is because he thinks you're easy. Is he your same age or is he also older like the kids at school?
No, he's about the same age as me, maybe 1 or 2 years older than me.
Okay.
And he approaches me. Um, at this stage, I was wary of what the boys were like. So I was smart, right? I was not stupid. I didn't make it easy I wasn't sleeping around with anybody. I've never done that. I've never been that person. I was just given this label because of a
Mm-hmm.
specific circumstance. And then after that, the boys have just tried to get into my knickers, and I haven't basically fallen for it because I was smart enough to understand what was happening. So I was approached by this guy. He love bombed me. This was my first experience of love bombing, right? He love bombed me into being in a relationship with him.
Okay, hold on a second. Before you go on, excuse me for interrupting. A lot of people, like, I didn't know what love bombing was until I got into the depths of what I'm doing now. So I know what it is. And it's basically where people, they're really charming. They make you feel like you're so special and all of these things only because they have an ulterior motive in the end, or because that, like, again, that's not who they truly are. That's just the representative that they're sharing with you. But how? Because so many different people have the love bombing experience, but it's painted in a different way. How are you
Yeah.
being love bombed? Like, what was he doing that was love bombing in your specific situation?
Well, making me feel different to how the boys made me feel, right? So making me feel special. Um, I kept rejecting him. He kept chasing me, wanting to take me out, um, making friends with my friends, and his friends were making friends with my friends. So I would say that probably treating me different to how I'd been treated by the other boys, whereas the other boys were just, they would try and get into my knickers while mocking me at the same time, if that makes
Wow.
sense. So making fun of me, whereas he did it in more of a way where he was making me feel special. Whereas the other
Yeah.
boys never, there was no boy that ever made me special and feel special. They just, because they thought I was easy, they would just, try
Yeah.
and fuck with me or kiss me or whatever, and then just laugh about it, mock me for it, thinking that that would get a woman into bed. Anyway, um, so yeah, I would say that he probably just treated me different to any other boy had. And
Hmm.
he was very persistent. His friends made friends with my friends. He seemed really nice at the beginning. He wasn't, he didn't push for us to sleep together or anything like
Hmm.
that. Um,
Mm.
so yeah, I would
Yep.
say that that's kind of what the love bombing was. It was making me feel special and making knowing. I could almost say that I'm not sure if he was smart enough because the next boyfriend that I have, he was definitely more evil and way smarter than the first boyfriend I had. I don't
Wow.
know if he was I don't know if he was smart enough to know my label and then because he knew my label treat me as if I was a princess because he knew that I would fall for that because other people didn't
Hmm.
treat me that way. I'm not sure if he was smart enough to know that. I do
Okay.
know that that is quite a narcissistic tendency. Um,
Hmm.
and I'm not sure if he was smart enough to think like that or if he was just narcissistic and he didn't realize it. Whereas the next boyfriend
Right.
I have, he knew what he was doing. Whereas this guy, I don't think he did. I think he was just abusive and, um, yeah, I'd say toxic and abusive without him actually realizing. Whereas the longer relationship I had, he was
Hmm.
narcissistic and he knew that he was evil. He knew that he had demons. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay, wait, before we get into, like, people don't understand. I to me it makes me laugh and smile because they're so similar. It's like we're in different parts of the world, but the people we're describing are so similar. Before we get to the second guy,
The devil.
I didn't want to say it,
You can say
but it
it.
was right
You can
there.
say it, girl. You say it.
It was right there. So before we get to him, you said that this first guy was abusive. Like, what kind of abusive was he to you? Because he wasn't smart enough. You don't think he was smart enough, which means he probably wasn't to be playing
No.
you like the next guy did.
Mm. Um, he was quite jealous, so he knew my label, he knew my backstory, and he would manipulate me with this backstory, right? So he would, if we got into a fight, he would call me names, um, which would then cause me to because I didn't want him to call me names, I would then bow down to whatever he wanted me to do because I didn't want him to call me names. I was trying to prove myself then to him that
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't like this. I wasn't
Mm-hmm.
this girl that he thought I was. So that's kind of what the relation turned into. It turned into me trying to prove myself to him, right?
Yeah.
Um, he would do things like if we had a fight, he would let down the air in my tires so I couldn't go to work.
What?
Crazy things like that. Yeah, he would let down the air from my tires so that I couldn't drive to work. He would steal from me. He'd steal money from me. He'd steal gold from me and get it like pawned at the pawn shop. He would, I don't actually have, this is really interesting, and I'm not sure if it's a trauma response, but my therapist says that it's because it wasn't as significant as my next relationship. But I don't
Mm-hmm.
have lots of memories from this relationship. My friends say
Okay.
to me now, "Oh, do you remember when you were with so and so and we used to go to?" And be like, "No, don't remember that." So
Mm.
I'm not sure if it's a trauma response or if there's bigger things that I need to be
Right.
worried about.
The space in my mind, the capacity.
Yeah, there's no
Oh
space
man.
for him anymore. But yeah, he would do things that like letting the air out of my
Mm-hmm.
tires, which is
Mm-hmm.
crazy.
Mm-hmm.
He was very jealous.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't cheat on me or anything like that, which was God. That was nice of him not to cheat on me. Um, but yeah, he was very jealous, quite controlling.
Yeah.
And again, yeah, he would just use that card. He would, whenever we had an argument or something wasn't convenient for him, he would just use you are a so and so card.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, he didn't
We
work. He didn't want to work. He was lazy. He took drugs. I didn't know that he was taking drugs. People would knock on the door in the middle of the night, trying to get him to pay them money, and I didn't know that he even took drugs at all. I didn't know until somebody knocked on the door at 3 o'clock in the morning. So yeah,
there
it's
have been
exhausting.
so many stories of like hidden drug abuse with the
Yeah.
people who are abusive. And I want to say, because I think we're in a society, and I don't know if it's just ours, because we have so much access to social media and so much access to world news now that we didn't have 40, 50, 70 years ago. But they do say history repeats itself, so maybe it's not. But I want to say that we grow up and we're so either desensitized or we normalize toxic behavior, like with all of the celebrity shows of the Real Housewives of these people and all hip hop and love and all this stuff, that what they display is what we mimic because that's what we're tuning into. And so I want to sit here because somebody could be listening to this and be like, well, yeah, my boyfriend's jealous, but I kind of like that he's jealous. I don't want him to be okay with other people, and that's not healthy. Somebody could be sitting here listening to, well, he has locked me out of the house before, but he was mad. I get it. He was upset. And that's not healthy. Like none of this
No,
stuff,
it's not.
they're controlling because I'm upset about
Mhm.
something that we have a disagreement about. They lash out like toddlers. Like their brain triggers immature, how can I get to
Control.
you? Yes. And it's a form of control. It's not a form of, it's a temper tantrum for control. Like if I'm
Mhm.
upset at you, I ain't got to do something to make you uncomfortable. Like the person that I was in a relationship with, he didn't, if anything, it didn't matter if it was his children, it didn't matter if it was his family, it didn't matter who it was. If it was an inconvenience for him, he's not doing it. He's not giving energy or attention to it. But then if anything disappoints him or upsets him, he puts a lot of energy into the get back. Like he's a very petty
Vindictive.
person. So petty. Like he didn't
My
celebrate.
my ex was like that as well.
Yeah, it's crazy. He
Mm.
didn't celebrate, like
My
when we
next.
met, he didn't celebrate Father's Day. He had two kids before we met. He didn't celebrate Father's Day, but I celebrated it with him. Like when I came into the picture, I was like, "Well, I'm gonna get you a card." He didn't like cards. Blah blah blah. Well, when I became a mom, I'm like, "Well, what are we gonna do for Mother's Day?" Because I want to be celebrated.
Mm.
Women, we go through so much just to get the babies here, And this is my first one. And he's like, well, if we're going to celebrate Mother's Day, then you got to do something to me for Father's Day. I'm like, you don't even want to do any, you don't even want to do anything for Father's Day. But in order for me to be treated special one day out of the whole year, we got to talk about the month that is next month away and your plans before we even get to me. And so it's just, that's a really surface thing, but people miss the level of control that is in these relationships that aren't necessarily physically abusive relationships, but the control is out of, like, it's out of pocket. And I wanted to sit there for just a second because somebody's thinking, oh, well, I've had somebody, roll the windows down when I was cold or something, whatever. And it's not okay. Like, that's not healthy. And even though that person hasn't put their hands on you, or you don't feel like it's as bad as it could be, just because it's not as bad as it could be doesn't mean it's still not bad. It doesn't mean that it's healthy. Like, that kind of behavior, we should be in relationship with people who, if we have a disagreement, we handle it.
Who want to protect you. And it's possible. I know it's possible. There's men out there who want to protect you. It's just that there's also a narrative now where now everyone's saying that all men are the same, whereas I don't believe that's true. I believe
they're not.
We are attracting.
Yes.
I have attracted these men my whole life because of the pattern of love that I was taught. That's it. End of story. So it's really interesting that what you're saying right now.
And I like what you just said too. Let's just be real. It's not always we don't always want to admit this, but there is a level of accountability and responsibility we, as the people who have been experienced and exposed to abuse, we have to acknowledge and accept. Like, for you to say, I've attracted these people, like, a lot of people question, why do I keep ending up in the same relationships? It's like there's something inside of us that we're not addressing. For me, it was insecurities. That was my thing. I was insecure. And so I could easily attract this because those type, like the next person we're about to talk about is the type of person who, like, they can smell it. Like a shark smells blood in the water. They can smell this type of energy and this type of spirit in someone, or the low confidence and the low self-esteem, and they take it away. That's what you said. They feed off of it.
It's crazy. They do. They're all the same. They must be brothers.
They have the same dad. I'm telling you. Nat, they have the same demonic father.
Yeah, I think so too.
Wild. So the guy, the first guy that you had, how long did you're 18, how long did y'all stay together before we moved to the next guy?
I think maybe 2 or 3 years I was with him.
Wow.
I couldn't tell you the anniversary or the day we met. Can't remember. I think it was
2 or 3 years.
He met my parents. We lived at my parents' house for a while. My dad wanted to beat him. Like, that's how intense the relationship was. We eventually broke up, thank God.
Why? Why did y'all break up?
I was just sick of his bull, to be honest.
Okay.
He didn't want to work. I was just sick of him.
Okay.
The last time I broke up with him, this is how sick of him I was. He invented a story that he was moving away, that he was moving far away. And by that time, I was just like, no, you're not. I fucking know that you're not going anywhere. And I was just over him being a loser. That was literally it. So there was a bit of a trauma bond where, we broke up and then we got back together and then you'd fight again and then you'd break up and then. But that I can't remember that happening for a long time. It was kind of like we broke up, then because he'd made friends with my friends, we'd all go out together. So we were with him. Then we
what? Wait. They were your friends first.
Yeah.
There's got to be some level of loyalty. Like if y'all ain't, cause we're not together anymore. The only reason we were hanging out with you is because she thought you was cool enough for us to hang out with. Dismiss yourself from this group, please. What?
Yeah.
So y'all broke up and then y'all were still hanging out because he had become friends
We
with your
were,
friends. Did he
yeah.
have his own friends?
No,
I
no, he
knew
didn't.
it. I knew it.
No, he didn't. The second boyfriend didn't either. This needs to be red flag number one. We need to make this a
Yes.
law.
Yeah, that's
We need
why
to
I
make
had
this a law.
to ask.
If he doesn't have any friends, run.
Leave him
Run far
alone.
away.
Cause
Run
that
far
you
away.
know you are not about to be his everything and his nothing at the same time. Cause that's what's going to happen. He's going to look at you like you're nothing, but make you convince you that you're his everything. Stay away. Like, so what are your friends like? Well, I don't really have, okay, I can't, we can't, this isn't going to work out. Politely, respectfully, this is not going to work out for me. Oh my gosh, I knew it.
Yep. No friends.
And it's, they're, oh my gosh, they're
The funny
parasites
thing
and they're
is,
loners.
yeah, yeah, they are. The funny thing is that I didn't, the second boyfriend that I had, there was a big gap, right? So I was single for a long time because I was
Okay.
just like, forget this.
Yes.
But the second boyfriend was the same as the first boyfriend, but 10 times worse. So I don't
Oh my
understand
gosh.
what happened. I didn't remember the red flags. I can't remember.
Oh
Like,
my
if I don't
gosh.
remember the relationship now, I probably was single for long enough to forget the bullshit that I went through with the first boyfriend. And
Yeah.
God was like, you didn't learn your lesson. He got his whip out. He was like, here you go. Here's another devil. See if you learn your lesson this time.
Oh my gosh. Wait, okay, so he's worse, but how did y'all meet and what was it? Who was his representative when y'all met that made you feel like, oh, this might be okay?
The second boyfriend.
Yes.
So I was single for most of my early 20s, and I met this
Okay.
guy when I was about 27.
Mm-hmm.
And I I moved to Australia. I traveled the world
Wow.
this time. Yeah, I traveled the world. I worked on a cruise ship. I went to America, Canada, Bahamas, Caribbean. I traveled everywhere. Like I said before, the work situation for me was always really good. I lived in Ibiza for 4 years. You guys say Ibiza, I think. Ibiza. I lived in Ibiza for 4 years. So yeah, I traveled a lot and I worked a lot and I had flings here and there. I had an Italian boyfriend, nothing serious. The
Right.
same pattern. The guys were all the same pattern. They were all toxic.
Gosh.
They were all narcissistic. I was the
God.
one chasing them all the time. It was all the
Gosh.
same pattern, same type of guys, right? Um,
Yes.
Same pattern, basically. Now that I look back on it, they were just all the same losers.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
so I met this guy. The next devil I met was 27. I moved to Australia. I met him on a dating app.
Mm.
Um, when we first met, he when I first saw him, I was not attracted to him. I was like, I don't care for
Really?
this guy. Yeah, yeah,
What was
I wasn't
unattractive
attracted to
about
him
him?
physically. Um, I don't know. He just, I don't know, to be honest. I'm not
He just
sure.
wasn't your
He kind of
type.
had a glow up later. Let's just say that.
Okay.
He had a
Okay.
glow up later. Yeah, I wasn't attracted to him physically. It wasn't like I saw him and I was like, wow, he's really hot, and that wasn't the vibe.
Huh.
He took me He took me on a date and he said, grab your bicycle, your skateboard, and your bikini. And he had like a ute. I don't know if that's how you say it in America. He had with them a truck that had an
Uh-huh.
open back.
Okay.
So I put my bike and my skateboard in there, and he took me to all of the beaches. So I was new in Australia. He took me to all of the beaches. He showed me around. We went skateboarding, we went biking, we went hiking. We went in the ocean and I got stung by a jellyfish. I was like,
Oh
oh, this
Lord.
this is fate. Like, this is fate. I got love bombed all over again.
Nat, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. You had me. You had me at bicycle, skateboard, and bikini. I was like, oh, he's good.
Yeah,
He's good. Take
yeah,
me on an adventure. Oh my gosh.
yeah, yeah. I know. I know. I know you want to go on a date with him now, don't you?
Oh my gosh. Like, hold
Don't do
up.
it. Don't. Yeah. So,
Really?
he
What?
took me on an adventure. Yeah, he
Oh
took me
my
on an
gosh.
adventure. We went for lunch. We split the bill. That should have been my first red flag. We split the bill. That should have
Right,
been
because this is
my
an
red
official
flag
date,
number
right?
one.
This is an official date.
Yeah, this is a date.
Yeah, so yeah,
We
he's
didn't
definitely
have to
supposed to
win the
pay.
date. Like,
Yeah, you definitely supposed to pay
yeah,
on an official date.
I'm not going right now, as of November 2025, I will not go on a date unless the guy is paying for it. Fuck that. I'm not going. I'm not getting makeup on unless you're paying for it. I'm not going.
Because it's not
So
a
yeah, that should have been my
if
first red flag.
here's the thing. Here's and I'm gonna let you get to it. But in my brain, and I could be wrong, I don't know if other people think this way. If I invite you on a date, if I'm a woman and I invite you out, I'm not going to expect you to pay for both of us because I invited you. This wasn't your intention. You might have wanted to do it, or maybe we have this relationship where you've already taken me out 3 times and now I want to take you out and treat you or invite you out. But if you, as the
Yeah.
man, ask me to get myself together to come out and voluntarily allow you the
Put
opportunity to
makeup
take up
on.
my space and my time,
Wash my hair.
keep going. All of the
Tint
things.
my eyebrows. Tint my eyebrows. Curl my eyelashes. You are fucking paying for it.
Pay for my
And
meal,
no,
please, and baby.
yeah. I think that now that I've done all this psychology, I've read all these books, I've listened to all these podcasts, I've done all this crying, I've been to all this therapy, right? I believe that the way a man works is that men want to chase women, right? They
Mm-hmm.
want to chase and
Mm-hmm.
they should always be the one chasing us. So in my brain, I am never going to be in a relationship again. Not unless the man is chasing me, but that's the vibe that I want, right?
Yeah.
I don't want a man chasing me. No, I don't want that. But if I want to be in a secure relationship, I want to be with a provider and a protector. When I say provider, I mean I'm going to work for my own money. I don't want you to fund my life. I'm not a girl who wants to be with a man who's got loads of money and I want to be a stay-at-home mom and do nothing. No, because
Mm-hmm.
as I've mentioned before, that's not how I was brought up. So I'm never going to be like that anyway. But
Mm-hmm.
I do want to feel protected. I want to feel
Yes.
like a princess. I want to feel,
Yes.
and any woman should have to feel like that
Yes.
because that's how men are made to provide and they are made to chase. So
Yes.
why are they not doing that? So I'm going to wait until I find a man who is like that.
Yes.
And it doesn't mean he's going to pay for every date, but it means that if I'm going to wash my hair and put makeup on and find a dress, then you're going to take me out for dinner and I'm going to feel like a princess. And if I
Yes.
don't feel like a princess, I will stay single until I'm 99 or 150 because I expect to live until at least 150.
Talk that talk.
There
Me
we go.
too. Come on. Listen, I'm like 120. Come on.
Yeah.
Why? I don't know,
I'm
but I
good with
want to be
that.
a healthy, strong 120 before I'm out of here.
If I can release all this trauma, I'm going to live till I'm at least
Girl.
150. Definitely.
Girl. Yes. But I agree with you because I mean it's in nature. In nature, you see the guy is doing everything that he can to win the female of whatever creature it is over.
Yeah.
And we've
To protect
lost
and
sight
provide.
of that. Yes,
Yeah, we
we've
have.
lost sight of that as and for me again it was all the insecurities. I needed validation, I needed approval, I was seeking that outside of myself instead of validating and approving myself and then giving you the opportunity to add your little sprinkles on top if you want to. But we're here, that's where we at now, like
Yeah.
sprinkle me, princess me, or go on about your merry way.
Yeah, that is exactly my mindset now. And I believe that all women should think that. I think that all
Yeah.
women should live like that, definitely. But you need to the reason I think like this now is because I've been through all this pain. I wasn't just born like this. I wasn't born expecting to be a princess, you know?
Yeah.
So I
And
think there's
not
a
knowing
difference
your worth.
between, yeah, there's a difference between wanting to be treated like a princess and being entitled. Because
Yeah.
girls who are born wanting to be a princess sometimes can be entitled, and I'm not entitled at all. But I've gone through so much pain that I'm either your queen and your princess, or I will continue to be my own queen by
Yeah.
myself, and I will have loads of animals, and I don't
Yeah.
care. I will be single forever. I don't care.
I mean, it's in the Bible, it says, and I can't remember the scripture, but it says, you're to treat your wife like she's this precious porcelain
Mm.
china. And that's, to me, translates into princess. Like you said, not entitlement, not me being rude. I can still be humble. I can still, do what I need to do. But I want you to cherish and value the rarity that I am, because there's not another single person on this planet that is me, is ever going to be me, or ever could have been me. And we
Yeah.
miss, because we don't know our own value, our own worth. We lower our standards, or we don't set standards in the first place, and we end up in these situations. And so, like you said, now it's like, show me through your actions that you actually want me, not me being a convenient whatever for you. And then two, if you are going to show me that you want me, treat me like I know I deserve to be treated.
Yeah. And I
I'm
will
not
treat
these
you
other
like a
people.
king, and we will be king and queen, you
And we
know?
will be king and queen, and we will rule our castle together.
Yes,
So,
we will, darling.
all right. So back to Mr. Adventure. Yeah, he
You
got
saw,
me.
right?
He got
He
me
got
until
you.
you said we split the check.
Yeah,
How did that
yeah.
do you even remember how that conversation went? Like, we
It
went on this whole
probably,
adventure of a day, and we eat, and like, how does that go?
I don't know, he probably thought in his brain, oh, I've had to borrow this money off my mum, so I'm going to make you pay for your own. Oh, God. Yeah, I don't know.
Oh
I
my
think
gosh.
that's what they do, right? They love bomb you, they give you this perfect date so that when it comes to you paying, you don't mind paying because everything else was so perfect.
Everything was, oh my gosh. That's the
And you're
whole
still being a
playbook.
jellyfish.
That's
Like, how, like, I was like, this is fate. This is meant to be. We're gonna get married. We're gonna have kids, you know?
Like, most people would get stung, and they'll be like, no, that's a warning sign. Don't do this. And you're like,
Not
oh,
me,
wow.
not me.
What are the chances?
What are the chances of me coming all the way to Australia where the water is full of jellyfish and me getting stung? The chances are actually pretty high. Pretty high. If you Google it, the chances are very high.
Oh
Yeah,
my
no.
gosh. I'm so tickled. I am so tickled. But that is the play, though. The play is, I'm going to,
That's what love bombing is.
and
That's
it's
love bombing 101.
a 101 and beyond. Once the love bombing stage is over, it's a part of the cycle. And the cycle is, but it's in reverse. The cycle of abuse is in reverse. So the love bombing phase is, I'm going to do all of these things so that when you see this one thing that's really the red flag, you're going to look at it like, oh, it's nothing, because this day was amazing. This week was amazing. This month was amazing. But then once you get out of the love bombing phase and the representative is gone into the real abuse, it's then a cycle of terrible, 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 terrible. Now I'm going to throw you a good thing so that I can say, well, hey, it's not all bad. And you're mentally at this point convinced that it's not all bad. And then you start making your stupid little list. Well, let me write down all the good things and all the bad things. And if the good things outweigh the bad things,
Yep.
then it's, if you got
Yeah.
to make a list, that's a
Delulu.
flag.
Delulu. Yeah, if you gotta make a list, that's a red flag. It's crazy. We need to
Oh
write a
my
Bible,
gosh.
I'm telling you. The new Bible.
Okay, so you have a lovely date, you end up paying for half your meal. What happens next? Because you're not even attracted. Does the attraction then come through personality and character as you're spending the day with him?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, it does. And also something that he did that I don't know if he did it on purpose, but it worked, is that we did all these adventures and we had lunch, and then all of a sudden he took me home, and I wasn't ready to go home. I wanted to continue the
Oh, that's a
adventure.
play.
he cut me off. He was like, "Oh yeah, this is your house, right?" I'm like, "Oh, okay." So that was part of the love bombing, right?
Yeah.
He got me. He got
Yeah.
me. I was like, "Oh, is that it? Like, is that it?" I was a princess for like 15 minutes. Yeah. So he
Leave
dropped me
them
off at
wanting
home.
more.
Yeah. Um,
And
so he
two,
was,
you're like, okay, well, I don't have to, because you never know, on a first date, you could be thinking the whole time, I hope he's not going to try to have sex with me. And I hope we don't have to have this
he
conversation. And
didn't.
then I drop you
He
off
didn't.
after we've had this amazing date and there wasn't even a topic of discussion. And you're like,
No,
wow,
no kiss, no like there was no like
wow.
physical touch at any stage. It was like friends, right? So I was
Mm-hmm.
like, what? Like I was confused then. I was like, okay, right. Um, so he dropped me off at home and then, there was the text or whatever. And then and then I can't remember how many dates we went on, but it was my birthday next. So he came over to my house and he brought drinks.
Mm-hmm.
And the funny thing is that I went to Australia with one of my best friends to live, so we were both there. And he came round to my house because me and him were going to go out dancing. We're going to go out clubbing, just me and him, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he came round to my house and he wasn't wearing a shirt. Now he's got tattoos and he's got like a six pack, like he's got like a nice body, like he's not the worst looking, he's not bad looking, right?
Wait.
Um,
So he has a great body, but you're not attracted to his face.
mm, I don't know. Yeah, I think it was that. When I first met him, he was quite skinny. So he
Okay.
wasn't
So over
so
the
no,
months he's been.
he wasn't like ugly. He wasn't like an
Mm-hmm.
ugly person. He was attractive, but um it turned out that when I met him, he hadn't been going to the gym and he was like
Mm-hmm.
not in his best he wasn't in his best era, basically.
Okay.
So
Okay.
it wasn't like when I saw him, I was like, wow, he's so hot, It was like, oh, okay, all right. I've had better. I haven't had better dates though. I've had
Yes.
better men, just not better dates.
Just not
Anyway,
better dates. Okay. Fair enough. So, but
he
by the time your
he
birthday rolls around,
yeah. So my birthday rolls around.
okay.
He comes to my house. He comes to my house with drinks, and he comes to my house without a shirt. And my best friend's like, "Why is he not wearing a shirt? He's a narcissist." This is what she said to me. What a narcissist.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's pop.
And I was
Wait,
like,
pin it right there because
pin the comment.
the
Red
thing
flag number two.
is when you have friends who are truly friends, they see what you don't see. And we
Yeah,
got to start listening. It's not jealousy. It's not, I'm going to miss you because you're spending more time with this person. No, you've been love bombed. Now you have this glaze over your eyes and you're missing or
I was like this.
intentionally ignoring the flags.
I was blind. I was blind.
Completely blindfolded. Please listen to your friends and family. That's all I want to say. Listen to your friends and family who you trust, who you've had a full relationship with. If there's something that they don't like about this person, or if they're saying there's something off about this person, just
Yeah,
listen.
right. Yeah, I didn't listen. I didn't listen. I was like,
Dang.
oh, because we'd had this first date. I was like, oh, I didn't really mind if his shirt was off. Like, who cares? Also, we were in Australia, so people don't wear shoes. They don't wear shirts. It's kind of like a thing there anyway. So here's me making excuses for him.
Right.
Um, yeah. So yeah, I kind of brushed that off, and then we
Okay.
went out that night. We went out that night,
And
and
he's still
just the two of
shirtless.
us. No, he
Like
was
y'all went out
shirt by
and
this time. He was
oh,
shirt.
wait. So he had a
So
shirt with him.
he had a shirt. We were at my house drinking in the garden and he had no shirt on.
He just walks up to the house with no shirt on.
Yeah,
But he had a shirt with him to be had on.
yeah, yeah. I know what you're thinking. I know what you're thinking. You would have fallen for it too. No, I'm just kidding. You would have.
Yes,
I didn't.
absolutely.
I didn't even.
I wouldn't have thought I wouldn't have thought another thought other than, oh, nice to see you. I wouldn't have
Yeah,
been
me
like,
too.
where's your shirt?
So
Why don't you have
yeah, what happened was he dropped me off early, right? So I was like, oh, wait a minute, is that it? This is the date over? So then I was excited to see him. So the next time I saw him, he was no shirt on. So I was like, you know what I mean? So it was all a game. It was a
Yeah,
game, and he was a good player. He was really good at
yeah,
playing this game.
yep.
So he comes with no shirt on. We have drinks at my house. We get a taxi into town, just the two of us. We go out dancing. I had so much fun. I love dancing and I love singing. I know.
Yeah.
Um, just the two of us. We danced all night. We danced to rock. We danced to house music. We went to all the clubs, all the bars. We had a really good time. It was really fun. We played pool. Then he kissed me, right? Then
Mm.
we
Hmm.
kissed. We had a kiss. Um, and then we went back to my house. We did the deed. We had sex, right? And then when I woke up in the morning, he was gone. He wasn't there. He'd gone. So
So at
he'd
this
left in the
point, you've
middle of the
known
night.
him what, 7 months?
No, no, no. So
Not even.
I'd maybe been on like 3 or 4 dates with him. So we'd had
Hmm.
the love bombing day, and then
Hmm.
after that we'd maybe been for lunch here or there, and then the next kind of situation, the worrying situation, was my birthday where um we went out drinking and partying, and then we slept together, and he then I went to sleep in my bed and he was in my bed, and then when I woke up in the morning he wasn't there. He'd left in the middle of the night. So that could have been red flag number 5. I'm not sure where we are in the story now, but we've got a few red flags going on. If you're going to edit this podcast, you should put flags up here, and now we would have like 10 flags. The emoji flags, we'd have like 10 already. Um, yeah, this is turning into a comedy. Forget fucking Survivor.
I
The
love these
comedy.
interviews though. I love these interviews so much where we can just laugh and cackle about it because yes, what we've been through is so serious and it's not going to not be serious, but it's proof of your healing and my healing and our ability to have a conversation that's a heavy conversation, but still allow the person who was lost for so long to be
Yeah.
present in this conversation. Because
Yes.
you're showing me
If
who
I can,
you are.
yeah.
I'm showing
If
you
I
who
can
I
look like
am.
an idiot, if I can look like an idiot, but it will save a woman's life or it will save her heartbreak, I don't care if I look like an idiot because the story gets worse. The story gets a lot
Sid.
worse. And I tell my story through my TikTok. I'm telling my story on the internet. And if I don't care if I have to look stupid or
Mm-hmm.
somebody who's never been through this situation
Mm-hmm.
before, who doesn't understand what a narcissist is, they don't understand what love bombing is, they will hear my story and they will be like, what a fucking idiot. Excuse my French,
Mm-hmm.
you can beat that out if you need to. They'd be like, why didn't you just leave him? You know, I'm going to look
Mm-hmm.
stupid to like 40% of the world. But if I can look if one girl can go, oh
Yes.
my God, I can relate to that. I don't feel
Yes.
stupid anymore. I'm not crazy. Then my job is done here. I don't care. We can do 17 podcasts. I don't care. So basically,
It is
that's it. I
done.
need women to understand um, that we can do stupid things for love and we can do stupid things for someone who we think loves us. Um, as long as they understand that there is reasoning why they do that, and it's usually from their childhood, and they can
Mm-hmm.
fix it, basically.
Yes.
So yeah,
And
I don't
heal.
mind looking stupid.
And
And
there's life
Stephen
after
Bartlett,
all of the stupid decisions, all the stupid mistakes. There's still life after that. It's not over.
Stephen Bartlett from The Diary of the CEO says that success comes after looking stupid. So
Yep.
you have to look stupid first to
That's
be
good.
successful. So if I
That's
have to go
good.
on the internet, look like an idiot to 60% of the world because they don't understand what I've been through, I don't care. I'm ready for the hate. I have been through so much that I am not scared of anyone. I'm not scared of evil comments. I'm not scared of trolls. I am not scared of dragons. I'm not scared of spiders. I'm invincible.
Talk your talk,
So
sis. Come on now.
if
They don't
if you make much of
understand. Okay.
yes,
I'm still
if I
so
can make a
tickled about counting the red flags. So,
oh, don't
so
worry. They're all up here. Look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Too many red flags. Too many red flags, girl.
you said I went to sleep in my bed. He went to sleep beside me. I woke up.
Disappeared. Magician. He was a magician.
Oh my
Magic.
gosh. So he just leaves your house in the middle of the night. Do you hear back from him the next day?
Yeah, so I messaged and say what happened, or I can't remember if I messaged or he did, I don't know, but he said that his brother came to pick him up, which now I know is a lie because I've met his brother and there's no way his brother was going to go pick him up at like 4 o'clock in the morning. He would have gotten an Uber to go home. Now I realize it's because he didn't want to be in a relationship. He just wanted to love bomb me and for me to chase him and for me to feel like
He
that
wanted
he
the
was great. Or,
attention.
yeah, he wanted the attention. That was it, really. So that was it. So that happened, and then there was a few more dates, and then that's when it started to get cold. Then he started to be inconsistent when he'd message back his texts. So I'd
Hmm.
text him and he wouldn't message back for like 2 days, and I'd be like, "What the fuck?" So one day he messaged me. I don't. We must have had the conversation about what is this? Is what is going on here?
Hmm.
Like we've slept together, we've been on these great dates. What is going on here?
Right.
And he said that he didn't want a girlfriend or something like that. So I was like, oh, I think his last text message was, I don't want a girlfriend. So, and I didn't reply to him. I was like, oh, that's it. I'm over this guy. I'm done with this
Yeah.
guy. He's like, fuck this. I'm not doing this. And then about a week later, he texted back to the message that he had sent saying he didn't want a girlfriend. And he said, I do miss you though. So a week later, he decided that he'd put the hook out again to see if I was going to be a
If
little
you
fish and
would
I was going to
take the
catch him.
bait.
Yeah, to see if I was still available to him. And I didn't reply to the text. So Natalie, at this stage, she was smart. I don't know what happened later. I don't know what happened after. But for like 10 minutes, my brain was on. I was onto it. Yeah. So what had happened? Oh, I don't remember much of what happened, but I do remember that I was working with this girl and I would tell her, she heard the whole story, right? I met
Hmm.
him and we went on this date and he was great. So I was working with her and I was talking about him a lot, right? So he was, top of tongue. And I remember that when he was starting to get inconsistent, that's when I started to get like brain. That was so when I was a bit like, oh, why isn't he, because I was already hooked onto
Hmm.
him. I was already
Hmm.
like, why isn't he replying? What's wrong with me? So I was reverting back to my childhood and my teenage years of
Yeah.
I'm not good enough. He doesn't love me because I'm not skinny enough. I'm not pretty enough. I'm not tall enough. My teeth aren't white enough. My hair's not long enough. I'm fat enough. My tits aren't big enough. Whatever excuse your brain tells you, because that's
Yes.
what we do as women.
Yes.
We think it's our fault. So I do remember working with this girl and reading too much into the story and getting a bit like mind boggled to where I was like, this, I'm not doing this, and I didn't quite. Then what happened was 6 months went by, right? I heard from him that week later, and then I didn't reply, and that was it. I came back to England to my
Hmm.
best friend's wedding,
Okay.
and then I went back to Australia, and I'd moved house at this stage. So this was like 6 months later. I'd moved house, and I was working as a manager in a hotel, and I had some tickets to go whale watching. And
Hmm.
I text him, right? So I reached out to him and I said, "Hey, how are you?" So what happened is I'd been like, yeah, I'm not dealing with this, but still in the back of my mind, I was still wondering why he wasn't interested in me, right? So I was still hooked subconsciously, still
Yep.
hooked. Six months later, I messaged him again. I think I'd been on a few dates with a few other guys, and I was like,
Hmm.
well, of course those dates were never going to be as good as the love bombing. Of course they weren't.
Gosh.
Because this guy, he didn't want to have sex with me on the first date. He didn't try to kiss me. Whereas the other guys that I was going on dates with, they just wanted to get into bed with me, like the
Hmm.
rest of the world. So
Hmm.
subconsciously, his job was done. He'd done what he wanted to do, which was to get his little sneaky little leechy paws into my brain and suck onto all of the energy that I had so
Yeah.
that later on I'd think about him, which I did. So 6 months later, I contacted him and I said to him, I've got tickets to go whale watching. Do you want to go? Um, and he was like, yeah, okay. So we went whale watching. Yeah, I know. Damn, girl. This is when my American comes out. Girl. We went whale watching and he actually got seasick. So
Mm.
he was actually seasick and he still came whale watching, which is pretty funny. And then we just became friends again. I was
Hmm.
living in a different house. My best friend had moved back to Spain, so I was now on my own again.
Okay. Hmm.
I had new housemates and we were still friends. So I was dating, but the dates were just random guys who wanted to sleep with me, and I wasn't interested because I already knew what that was. I was
Right.
just didn't. I'd had too many guys that just wanted to sleep with me, and I was over it. So I wasn't really dating anyone. Um, but subconsciously, I was still hooked onto this man who hadn't tried to sleep with me, had love bombed me, and yeah, wondering why he wasn't interested. What was wrong with me? There must be something wrong with me. So I contacted
Yeah.
him. We went whale watching. We slowly became friends again. And
Hmm.
then we spoke about what had happened. He said, look, I am inconsistent. This is what he said to me. I'm inconsistent. I will break your heart. I do not want a girlfriend. That's what he said to me, right? What? What? What is this? What was it? It was a game to me then. I had to prove myself to him. I was like, what do you mean? I couldn't understand why. I was like, what do you mean? Why are you going to break my heart? I don't understand what that means. If he'd have said to me, I'm going to cheat on you, then I probably would have maybe ran a mile, but I didn't understand. What do you mean you're going to break my heart? What's the problem? He's like, um, I don't want to have a girlfriend right now. And I just took that as a challenge, basically. So he would come to our house and have drinks with my friends. He started being friends with us. He didn't have any friends, right? So he made friends with my friends. He would come over for drinks, but this guy didn't want a girlfriend. He was going
Hmm.
to break my heart. He was inconsistent, but he didn't want a girlfriend. But my friends were
Hold
like,
on a
you
second.
guys
Hold on
try.
a second. I
Yeah,
can't let you keep going.
yeah,
For
go
the
on.
people who are listening right now, if a man has
Listen
the
to him. If he tells
consideration
you, listen
to
to him.
tell you that, he's not lying.
No,
When
he's
he
not.
says, I don't want a girlfriend, I'm not looking for anything serious, he's not trying to make you, it's not your responsibility to prove that I'm different from the other ones. He's not. He's, if they're going to be intentional about one thing, is telling you that they're not interested in being serious about anything. Can we play around? Yes. Can we have a good time together? Yes. Do I enjoy your company?
Yep.
Yes. Do I want to be committed to you? No. Are you going to change that? No. So, to anyone who's listening, please don't waste your time thinking that you are special. However,
Yep.
your special
Not to
is
him.
not going to change his character, his mind, his desire at the
Yep.
moment. He's made up his mind that this is the phase of life that he's in. And you don't get to trigger or change that phase. Dang it.
I know.
Because somebody's had this conversation and they think the same way that you and I think, which is, well, That's just because you haven't met me yet. What? What? I can show you everything you didn't even know you wanted. Let's go.
You've been treated so bad. I will love you so hard that you will not even know what's hit you.
Ash, let me just show you what my world is like. Don't do it. Don't do it. Oh my gosh. Okay. I just had to because there's
I just thought he
somebody.
was scared. No, no, no. Yeah, yeah. You're doing exactly correct. I just thought he was scared. I was like, he's
No.
just scared. He's just scared of commitment. You know, he told me about his dad. There's always a story. His dad was abusive, and his dad was an alcoholic, and he had problems with drugs, and um, whatever story it is, he told me. So I do believe at this stage that he was being honest and genuine. He wasn't actually saying, I don't want a relationship because he wanted me to chase him. He was actually genuinely saying, I'm dangerous. Stay away from me. I've hurt people before and I don't want to hurt you. Um, I'm inconsistent. I will break your heart and I don't want a girlfriend.
As he's already shown you 6 months prior. His actions aligned with what he just said.
Yep. So I took that as he's scared. He's scared of commitment. Um, he's depressed or whatever because his dad was abusive. This poor guy. I don't know what the I thought, to be honest. We started hanging out because he made friends with my friends, and he'd come over we'd have drinks at the weekend at our house, and we started hanging out. And then my friends started saying, like, you guys should be boyfriend and girlfriend. And then, and then what happened was one of my housemates moved out of my house. So I had a spare room in my house, and he had a fight with his dad, and the police got involved. Yeah. He had a fight with his dad. The police got involved. I had a spare room in my house, and I said, "You can come and live here if you want." Yep. So he, yeah.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Another pin because I just can't let it.
The red flag, is it more red flags? We can't fit any red flags into this into this street anymore. We're gonna have to start putting the red flags on your green background now as well.
It is not, ladies, listen, please, and men, because there are some men out there who are tenderhearted. It is not your responsibility to save someone from their own situation. Whether they ask you for help or you volunteer, it is not your responsibility to save all the stray dogs in the world. There are other people out there who can do just as well. Let them do that.
Yep.
Because I would have done the exact same thing. I would have done the exact same thing.
Why did my housemate move out? It's her fault. I know, it's all her fault.
I'm like, wait a minute, the timing though. I'm just saying, I know we're not in a relationship, but I have a spare room and I know that your dad is just so horrible to live with. You should come over here till you get your things. Carry on. Somebody needed to know it is not your responsibility, regardless of how tender your heart is, to be there and save every single person.
Yeah, because we have to realize that the same way my childhood and my abuse caused me to behave in a certain way as an adult, his upbringing and his abuse caused him to act a certain way as an adult, but
yes,
never in the same way. Never in this, it's not always in the same way. Because I was abused, I would say that I'm more, I don't know if it's because I was abused, but I am definitely more of an empath where I can feel other people's pain, right? I cry easily. I can feel other people's pain. I don't know if that was from the abuse or if I was born like that. not sure, but some people go through trauma or they have an alcoholic father and they turn into narcissistic people, right? So you either
Yeah.
go one way or the other. You're
Yeah.
either someone who's going to get abused or you're going to turn into an abuser.
Yeah.
So we have to keep that in mind as well. So yeah, the stars aligned. My housemate moved out. It's all her fault. I always knew. She moved out. He moved into my house, and we started dating, right? So this is what happened. We started dating. He got a new job. Um, I'd say maybe 6 months into the relationship, right?
Like when you say relationship, y'all, he has moved in and now he's like, okay, I'll give this girlfriend, boyfriend, committed relationship a chance.
Yeah. Yeah.
This was mutually agreed upon.
Yeah.
Even though I just showed up a couple of weeks or months ago and said, okay, okay.
Yeah. So I don't really know the logic there because he'd already said that he didn't want to be in a relationship, but it seemed convenient for him to live there. I don't know. I don't really know what happened there, but we
Mm-hmm.
ended up in a relationship. And he, after 6 months, he, one night and a weekend, he was taking one of his work colleagues to the airport, and he he came home in the middle of the night because he'd taken this guy to the airport and something that happened before this is that he never wanted to have sex with me, ever. He wasn't a sexual guy. He didn't want to kiss. He wasn't,
So why did y'all have sex before?
I don't know. It must, I don't know, but he wasn't sexual at all. He didn't want to have sex. It was almost like, I don't know, maybe he's gay. I'm not sure. We'll get into that. Maybe he's gay. I don't know. We'll get into that later. But he wasn't sexual. It was almost like I was with someone trying to convince him that I was good enough that he could have a relationship, but also I was trying to convince him that I was good enough for him to want to sleep with me as well. So,
So y'all are in a relationship and you're lacking affection, physical.
yeah, he would he would lock himself in the bathroom and masturbate, right? And the reason I know this is because he would he would watch porn and he would leave it on his phone for me to see. So he would not want to have sex, but he would go into the bathroom and masturbate. So he was sexual, but just wanted to want to have sex with me. So this was a real mindfuck from day one. It was a mind. So I was already in the trauma bond of trying to convince him that he wanted a relationship, that I was good enough, because I thought
Mm-hmm.
that, again, it was my fault that he didn't want to have a relationship because I wasn't good enough for him. I was also trying to convince him to have sex with me, but also wondering why he was rejecting me at the same time.
Yeah.
Right? And he got this new job. He took his friend to the airport. He came home in the middle of the night. I was in bed asleep. He came into the bedroom. He woke me up. He took me from the bed into the living room and he had sex with me. And I was
In
like,
the living room?
okay. Yeah, because we had a housemate then. I don't know
Right.
why he took I don't really know why he took me into the living room, to be honest. I don't really know. Can't remember that bit, but we had a housemate. I don't know.
Was the
So
housemate there?
she was in her bed asleep. It was the middle of the night. Yeah. I don't really know why it was. Maybe I was asleep on the sofa. I'm not sure. I know that I
Okay.
was
Okay.
asleep and he woke me up to
Mm-hmm.
have sex with me. And I was like, oh, okay. This is fun. Like the jellyfish. Like another red flag. Another red flag.
That's like a jellyfish.
Like the jellyfish moment. Um, yeah.
Okay.
So
Definitely a
we
flag.
did
Yeah.
that. Definitely red flag. We had sex and then we went to sleep. And then the next day, he was in the shower and he got a text message on his phone. And it was a text message from a prostitute, right? So, yeah. What happens is you can, I don't know if you know this, but I know this because I had an ex-boyfriend who used to do things like this. So now I know how this works. So you can go onto the internet, onto like, not exactly the dark web, but specific websites where prostitutes will advertise services and they have their picture on there and their phone number, right? So he gets a text message onto his phone and he's in the shower. And at this stage, it's 6 months in, right? And I'm already going through his phone. Red flag number 723. I'm already going through his phone, right? So I'm already crazy. He won't have sex with me. He doesn't want me to be his girlfriend, but he's living in my house. But he locks himself in the bathroom to masturbate and then leaves porn on his phone. He's not even hiding it from me. I'm already going through his phone. This is already a fucked up relationship. I want to prove myself to him because I don't feel worthy enough or whatever the story was. So he gets a text message from a prostitute, and the text message is offering services with prices. So what happens is you go onto this website and you get this specific prostitute. You like her picture, you get her phone number, and you text and you arrange the meeting, right? And you go to the meeting and you have sex or do whatever it is. But what they do is they keep your number on file and then you get like marketing text messages from them. So then one at random at nighttime when I'm in a horny and lonely, they're horny and lonely all day, but they were just nighttime text messages. They would send you a text message with the price list again with her name to kind of like drag them in, right?
Yeah.
So it just so turned out that he was in the shower and I had his phone. And I was like, what the fuck is this, right? So I Googled the phone number, found the address. He was in the shower. I was the FBI by this page, and I was only 6 months into the relationship. Took the phone number, Googled it, found the address, Googled the address, searched for the address inside his maps in his phone. So he had an Android. So iPhone is different, but somehow Android on Google, inside the maps, you can see where he's been, and he doesn't know that, right? Because Google knows everything. Now I know everything. Thank you, Google. Thank you, Google. Yeah, thanks to Google. I worked out that the night before he had gone to take this guy to the airport, and then he'd gone to this prostitute's house, right? Yeah. But then he'd somehow, for some reason, come home and had sex with me. Now, I know for a fact that he didn't want to have sex with me ever, but if we did have sex, it was only once. There was no like all night or 4 hours or, we had sex once, that was it, he was done, and he was done with it. So I knew that something had happened because he came home wanting it. So he was already in the mood because something else had happened. So I put two and two together that I don't think that something actually happened at that night because otherwise he wouldn't have wanted to have sex with me because he wasn't the kind of person who had sex more than once. He came and that was it. He was done all the time, never ever, right? So I confronted him. He came out the shower and I confronted him. I was crying my eyes out, obviously, crying my eyes out. He said that he had gone to get a massage. He was just a massage. I was just going to get a massage, right? And I was like, why were you going to get a massage at 1 o'clock in the morning? Oh, because everywhere else was closed. So he sold me this story, and eventually I got the truth out of him. And the truth was that he'd gone to get a massage, right? Gone to get a massage. Where in this menu said, happy ending massage. So even if it was a massage, your dick was out. Whether it was in her, sorry, excuse my French, whether it was inserted whether it was in a hand, whether it was in a mouth, where your was not in your pants, right? So he told me that what had happened is he'd been catfished. He'd texted this place, he'd gone on the internet, he'd seen this picture of this gorgeous Asian woman, right? Tall, skinny, tits, hot. And when he got there, he said she looked like an Oompa Loompa, right? From Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. He used the word
Yes.
Oompa Loompa, so it was quite funny. So he'd gone for a massage because he was stressed from work. He'd gone at 1 a.m. because there was nowhere else open. He didn't end up, I didn't even, the story turned around to be my fault, and I was crazy because he didn't even get a massage anyway because she was an Oompa Loompa, right? So that's how the story turned around to being he didn't do anything because he didn't do anything because she was an Oompa Loompa, but the intention was there. But with a narcissist, the intention doesn't matter. It's always turned back around onto being my fault.
Wait right there, because I can't tell you how many times I heard, but you know what I meant, or you need to learn how I think. Like so you have towels, right? You have a bath towel, and they're called different things, but you have the bath towel, which is the long towel. Then what I call it is a hand towel, which is the medium-sized towel that you dry your hands with. And then you have a face cloth or a wash rag. And there was a time where he was like, hand me a hand towel. And I give him the medium-sized hand towel. And he says, no, this is what I'm talking about. And he goes and gets a washcloth, the square. And I said, well, that's a washcloth or a face rag. That's face towel. That's not a hand towel. He's like, well, when I say hand towel, I expect you to bring me this, the washcloth or the face rag, not the actual hand towel.
Yeah.
And so, like you said, just to piggyback what off you said, like the intention, or I expect you to do things the way that I do things, I think, or I say, the intention doesn't matter because I didn't do it, or it couldn't happen even though I wanted to do it, or I didn't want to do it and it did happen. So it doesn't matter. At least it happened. Like, I didn't want to do this for you, but it happened for you. So boom, there you go. Be thankful. Like, whatever, which way, whatever side is on, it's there always. But you can never, ever have an intention and not suffer the consequences, even if you don't act out what you did as the person who's receiving the abuse in the relationship.
Yep.
I wanted to say that because I just wanted to wake people up a little bit. And I always got to I always got to drop my nuggets in there so people can really learn from these conversations.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, he's making you feel like you're the problem. First of all, what are you doing going through my phone?
Because I went through his phone. Bingo. Why are you going through my phone?
Forget everything that you found when you were in there, even though I left it on the bed and it buzzed and rang right in my face. What were you doing in my phone? Had you not gone through my phone, you would have never found this. We wouldn't have to have this conversation, and I wouldn't have to be upset at you about something that I intended to do that never even happened. Because I wasn't attracted to the person that I was expecting. Carry on.
So that night, he got out of the shower. I confronted him. I cried my eyes out. And he looked at me and said, I'm going to bed. I've got to go to work tomorrow. And he got in bed and he went to sleep and he left me in the living room crying my eyes out.
Yep.
And at that stage, in those days, I smoked cigarettes. So I may have smoked 3 packets of cigarettes. I was so upset. I had no friends. I wasn't going to call my mum and tell her that had happened, obviously. So he just left me crying. So for anybody who's listening to this, if a man tells you he loves you, he hadn't told me he loved me yet. This is an example. If a man tells you he loves you, then he purposely hurts you, like he did. He purposely texted a prostitute. That's purpose. That was an accident tells you he loves you, personally hurts you, and then when it hurts you, he leaves you to cry by yourself. He is 100% a narcissist, and I do not need any clinical woman to come and tell me that he needs to be clinically diagnosed as a narcissist. No, he doesn't. If someone tells you they love you and then they purposely hurt you, that person is mentally ill and they are narcissistic, and they do not need to go to a psychologist. And I don't need a psychologist to come and tell me that he needs to be clinically diagnosed. No. He left me to cry. I cried my eyes out all night because I didn't understand. Why doesn't he love me? Why doesn't he want to be with me? Why doesn't he want to have sex with me? Why is he going to get sex from someone else? Why? Blah, 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 blah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then the next day, I found out I was pregnant. Yep.
From
the 2 times we've had sex. Yep. So I was pregnant and I hadn't been cheated on technically, but I had been cheated on. It didn't matter if he did it or not because the intention was still there. So I was heartbroken. And at that stage, I was working in a spa. And so the job that I'd had when I met him, when we went whale watching, I was working in a hotel then. I was managing a hotel. The boss that I had, he ran away to Thailand and left me in charge of the hotel by myself, and the police came and raided it. That was another whole story, but I lost that job because the guy went bankrupt and he abandoned his business and left me to run it by myself. Anyway, so that's why I wasn't working that job. When I was with him, I started working at spa, and I had a friend who worked there with me, and she was an osteopath. And what happened was I was going through this pregnancy, and I was going through this heartbreak, and I decided not to keep the child. I'm sorry if anybody's watching this and they are, pro or against.
Mm-hmm.
That's other people's decision. But in that moment, I wasn't fit to have a baby.
How far along were you?
I think I was like maybe just under the threshold.
Mm-hmm.
Threshold in Australia, I think, is like 11 weeks. So I was just under the threshold. Maybe I was like 10 weeks, 11 weeks. So I decided not to keep the baby. And I was working as a massage therapist. And I remember that he was really hard on himself.
Wait a second. Hold on. He had a long day. He took his coworker to the airport. His girlfriend, who he now lives with, is working as a massage therapist.
Yep.
And he goes in the middle of the night to get a massage because it's the only place that's open when his girlfriend, who he lives with,
riddle me this.
Is a massage therapist.
Yeah.
I just wanted to set that down on the table in case somebody forgot to get their serving. Carry on.
Yep. So I was pregnant. I decided not to keep the baby. He just cheated on me for the first time. That had been the first event. And I remember that he was really hard on himself, right? So he would go through, he smoked lots of pot. He smoked weed. In America, you say pot, right? So he smoked pot every day, all day, every day, because he had this depression, because his dad was abusive, whatever his story was. So he smoked pot every day. So he would go through cycles where he would quit smoking. And when he quit smoking, he would turn into a monster. So he was like super hard on himself, and he had to go running, and he had a strict diet, and he was the same with me as well. So one day we went running and he was making me sprint. So we were doing sprints. So I pulled a muscle in my groin and I hurt my back, right? So I had a massage with my friend who was an osteopath, this girl, and I told her then what happened, that I'd had a problem with the baby, I got pregnant, and that he tried to cheat on me. And she said to me, and this was like 2018, 2019, she said to me, that pain is emotional, and you will not get rid of that back pain until you get rid of this man, right?
Oh my gosh.
This back pain goes on through the story. Right? The back pain continues. I've only just got rid of the back pain. She said
Oh
to me,
my
and this was
gosh.
years ago, she said to me, that pain is emotional and it's because of that man. And until you get rid of that man, you will not get rid of that back pain. And she was right. So I didn't get rid of the man and I didn't get rid of the back pain. What happened after that? So we were together, and then all of a sudden, he continued not having sex with me, masturbating in the bathroom. All of a sudden, he decided he didn't want to be with me anymore. He was moving out. So he made friends with one of my friends, who was a guy, and he decided he was going to move out of my house and move into my friend's house. Okay? So
Okay.
all of a sudden, this is the discard part, where all of us, they love you, and then all of a sudden, they're done with you, and they just want to leave, and they're done with sucking all the blood out of you that they can. And he broke up with me, came in one day and said, I don't want to be with you anymore. And he moved into the spare bedroom. So there was me, us, and then a housemate. Then there was another spare bedroom. Someone else had moved out. He moved into that spare bedroom. Didn't want anything to do with me. I was invisible at this stage.
Mm-hmm.
Invisible. He downloaded Tinder on his phone, so he downloaded dating apps. So he was going on dates with other girls while he was living in the house. I was crazy at this stage because, again, still didn't love me, still didn't want to sleep with me, still didn't want to, he was, didn't want to be with me, right? So he moved out of the house and he moved into my friend's house. And he was on dating apps, going on dates with girls. We were still friends because we had friends in common. And then we went out New Year's Eve partying, all of us, him, me, and our friend group. And the next morning, I went to the toilet. I sat on the toilet to pee, and I couldn't stand up from the toilet. I had my back gave way, and I could not stand up from the toilet. I had to call my friend to come to my house to help me up from the toilet, and my back was fucked. Right? So I went to the doctors, and they did scans. They couldn't find anything. They gave me codeine. They gave me codeine, right? They gave me really strong painkillers. Now, by this time, I was stupid enough to chase this man, but I wasn't stupid enough to take codeine, right? So I didn't take these tablets. I just smoked pot. I was like, right, I'll just smoke pot. It's fine. I'd rather smoke pot than get addicted to painkillers. So I kept these painkillers, but I didn't take any of them because I
Mm-hmm.
know that they're quite addictive. I know that that's not. So I dealt with the pain best I could. I couldn't work, right? Because I was working in a spa as a massage therapist. Could not work. Um, I couldn't pay my rent, so he offered for me to go and live in their house, right? So at this stage, I realized that I couldn't work and I couldn't pay my rent.
Mm-hmm.
So I was gonna come home back to my family, right? Because I couldn't work. I didn't have any money. My back was fucked.
Right.
I could not work. So I booked my flight to come home. No, wait a minute. I haven't booked my flight yet. I move into my friend's house. So there's me and him living in the house, and this other guy as well, who's also my friend. And um, we start dating again, right? So I move into this house. We start seeing each other again. But he says he wants to date me, but he wants to be in an open relationship,
Mm-hmm.
right? So he wants to be in an open relationship. He's I'm living in his house. I'm very depressed by this stage. I can't work. I sat at home all day. He's at work. Um, smoking pot because my back is fucked. And I'm trapped. I'm trapped and depressed. And that was it basically. So he was going on dating apps, he was going on dates, he was going out with my friend on nights out. I wasn't going anywhere because I didn't really have any money. I couldn't walk, basically, I couldn't do anything. This turned into I was eating his food, him saying this. I was leeching off him then, right? So now the story turned into I couldn't work, I was useless, I was spending his money, and I wasn't spending his money at all. He was paying for my food, and I was a burden to him, basically.
Yeah. How long had y'all been dating at this point? Like from when you met him at 27, then in February you turned 28.
6 months off.
Yeah. 6 months apart.
So that was like maybe we've been dating for maybe like 2 years now, I think.
Okay.
So it'd gone to 2 years from when I'd first met him, the 6 months off, we'd moved in, and then we'd lived together for maybe like a year and a half, and he'd moved out.
Then he moved out. Okay.
Then he moved out, then I moved in with him because I couldn't work, and he wanted an open relationship, so he was going on dates. The funny thing is now that I look back, I knew everything that he was doing because I was always going through his phone because I was a crazy woman by this stage.
Right.
So he didn't actually physically go on dates with girls anywhere. He would go on dating apps and talk to girls, but he didn't actually physically go on dates with anyone. He would go and get happy endings at the massage parlors. So I would find in his bank account and his maps, he'd do that all the time, and he would just think it was funny because we were in an open relationship now, so who cares, right? So he wasn't, this is what me trying to calculate. He wasn't physically sleeping with women, right? He was using dating apps to get attention from girls, right? To talk to them, right? Then instead of having sex with girls on these dates, he would go and have a happy ending. So I'm really confused. I'm quite confused here. And then what happened was he wanted an open relationship, and I was like, no, I don't want to be in an open relationship. I'm not doing that. It's too painful for me. And of course, the story was, you can't be in an open relationship because you have trauma from your childhood. I never told him about the sexual abuse. He would say to me, you must have trauma in your childhood because you always want to have sex with me, right? As if I was chasing him for sex.
Right.
Yeah. So he would turn it back on me, and he would say to me that I can't be in an open relationship because I'm insecure. Right? So that's what he would say.
Do y'all hear how wild this sounds? And they say it with such conviction.
Yep. We haven't even got to the wild parts yet.
You can't be in an open relationship because you're too insecure.
Yep. He would convince me, and he would say to me that, mind you, this relationship was abusive, but he hasn't laid hands on me yet, right? He hasn't even touched me or punched me or anything like this, and I'm already balls deep in depression and anxiety and schizophrenic by this stage, right? He would say to me that all men want to have sex with all women, right? That men don't want to eat tuna all the time, that sometimes they want to have steak, right? That all men want to have sex with all women, no men are faithful, all men cheat. This is what the story he'd tell me, that men were made to have sex with lots of women, and that he didn't want to be in a relationship with me, that in the future he saw himself as being this rich Dan Blazarian. You know who Dan Blazarian is?
No.
He is an American guy who won loads of money on poker, and he's single, and he's got loads of girlfriends who are all models.
Okay.
He wanted to be this guy who, So he would convince he would convince me that that all men were the same, and that the reason that I couldn't be in an open relationship is because I was insecure, and I believed it, right?
Because let
So
me just say, if you tell somebody, I mean, you have the foundation of it already. Like the manipulation started from day one. But if you tell somebody something over and over and over and over and over again, eventually they're going to start questioning whether or not they should actually believe you, regardless of how crazy it sounds. When you don't have a sound support system to bounce these conversations off of, if you're not in a mental space to hold your own, it's you start questioning, am I the crazy one here? Like, is it me? And you really can start believing stuff that in under any other
I did.
circumstance you would flat out not even think about twice.
Yep. Do you know who Aubrey Marcus is?
No.
So Aubrey Marcus is an American guy who is a spiritual guy, and he is in open relationships with his partner, right? And he's
Hmm.
always been with different women in open relationships. So at this stage in the relationship, I was Googling, right? This is where the craziness had got to, that he had convinced me that I was insecure if I couldn't have an open relationship, and that all women were insecure, and that men wanted to have sex with women all the time, and that all
Hmm.
men cheat, that all men are the same, and it doesn't matter who I'm with in the future, that they're all going to cheat on me. This is what he'd
Hmm.
say to me, right? Um, it got to the stage where I was Googling things about open relationships, and I was listening to podcasts of people that were in open relationships, right? I was
Yeah.
considering
Right.
being in an open relationship,
Right.
right? Because he was convincing me that I was insecure and that
Hmm.
being in an open relationship was normal. That's how women and men should live, right?
Yeah.
So I was listening to a podcast with Aubrey Marcus, which for anyone else who's listening to this, they might know who he is. Um, and he was at this time with one of his, I think she maybe had been his fiance at that time. They're not together now because open relationships don't work. For anyone who's listening, they don't work. And if you've got friends who are in open relationships, I'm very happy for them, but I don't believe in them. But that's just
Yeah.
me. Anyway,
Yeah.
um, so I was like, no, I don't want to be in an open relationship. And he was yes, and I was no, and he was yes. And I was like, okay, well, I don't want to be with you at all then if I'm in the open relationship. And that's when
Hmm.
he would go on the dating apps, right? So he'd go on the dating apps in front of me, and he'd never actually go on a date. He would be on the dating app scrolling. He'd be like, do you think this girl's hot? Like he'd show me pictures of the girls on the dating
Hmm.
apps, right? Um, which is terrorizing. Please don't ever do that with anybody. That's really not
Yeah.
good for you.
Yeah.
You'd have to go through lots of pain and lots of therapy, tell you that. Um, and he would show me these girls on these dating apps. And so I was very depressed. I was lonely. By this time, I told my friends what had happened about happy ending the first time in pregnancy. So
Hmm.
from then, I was in the situation with my friends where a lot of women find themselves now, where they say that your friends just say to you, "Oh, just leave him," you know?
Yeah.
I
Yep.
didn't actually have any friends who understood what kind of abuse I was being given.
Hmm.
They just saw it as this man is toxic, it's not good for you, why don't you just leave
Yeah.
him? So I didn't have any friends. My family were very far away. If I had have called my mum and told her, she'd have just been like, just leave him. Same thing as
Right.
my friends. They don't understand. They just tell you to leave. You're stupid. They make you feel stupid, basically. They make you feel how I'm probably sounding to 60% of the population who are
Right.
listening to this podcast going, this woman's crazy. Why the fuck did you not leave him? Anyway, I was lonely, so I booked a flight to come home. Right? So I was
Okay.
like, that's it. I'm done with this guy. I'm going home. Fucking off.
Okay.
So I booked my flight to come back, and I said to him, oh, you want to be in an open relationship? Let's do it. Let's do this open relationship. I was already done. I was already going home. I was like, okay, whatever. So I go on the dating app, I download the app, and I was like, what is my problem? Like, I could literally have a man, I could go outside of this door and I could yell out and there would be 10 guys there. What is my problem? So I download the dating app, I go on the dating app, I match with a Brazilian guy,
Mm-hmm.
most beautiful man you have ever seen. He was
Mm-hmm.
like, he was like one of those Greek statues, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, um, and I didn't do this to spite him. This wasn't like, oh, I'm going to get him back. This was me going, I haven't had sex in like 6 months. This guy is taking over me. I'm done with this. I've got a flight. I'm going home. I'm just going to have fun. I don't care. Right?
Yeah.
So I I go on a few dates with this Brazilian guy. Now, for anybody who's listening, who has ever been with a Brazilian guy, Brazilian guys will sell you a story and they will fumble you within 2 minutes. Brazilians are known for their big love bombers. Don't trust Brazilians,
Mm-hmm.
okay? I'm not racist, but the experience I've had, Brazilians don't have the best name, okay? Anyway, but I was in it for the fun. So he took
Uh-huh.
me on dates. He wined and dined me. I knew this guy just wanted to get into my knickers, but I just made it hard to get. I made it very hard to get for him. And he took me out on dates, and I got dressed up, and I put makeup on, and I felt pretty. And when it came to the hokey pokey, let's just say he was a really good dancer, right? So we went on a few dates. We did the dance. We did the hokey pokey.
Oh my gosh, your wording is phenomenal.
We need to do a Netflix documentary. I'm telling you, this is too long. What was this a 2 hour meeting? What? We've got like 3 hours of story left yet. Wow, it's been 2 hours. I can't believe that we've only got to this tiny bit of the story.
It's okay.
There's a lot of
We
story
can
left.
we can definitely
I'll be, it's
reschedule for the second or third part, whatever it's gonna be.
gonna have to be the part two. You tell me when I need to stop. You tell me when we need to cut, and it needs to be
Okay.
part two because it's already going over time. Okay.
Okay. Okay. We'll finish this phase and then
And then
we'll
we'll do it.
finish this phase and then we'll do another. Yes.
Okay. Um, and then we can let people ask questions. They can comment and ask questions. They can ask that we can answer in the next episode if you want, because people
Yes.
will probably have lots of questions. Okay, so the hokey pokey. So he was really good at the hokey pokey.
Mm-hmm.
And then what happened was one day I was with my ex, the devil, and I had to block the Brazilian guy, right? Because he was just texting me. He was in love with me. I want to see you again. Where are you? You're beautiful. I'm obsessed with you. He was obsessed with you, right? It wasn't in a love situation. It was he just wanted more pokey
Yeah.
pokey. That's all. It wasn't anything serious. Um, but because I blocked him on text message, he'd started messaging me on the dating app again, where we
Mm-hmm.
originally met each other, right? So one day I was with my ex-boyfriend, the devil, in the car, and this man never went through my phone, ever, ever. He
Mm-hmm.
never went through my phone. He would say to me, I would rather not go through your phone and find something that's going to hurt my feelings. I don't want to know.
What hurt your feelings? Sorry, you said open relationship. There should be nothing I can do to hurt your feelings.
I don't know. I don't know if he really didn't care or if he really had such a fragile ego that he was scared that I was going to be cheating on him and he was scared to find out. I don't know. But he never went through my phone.
Uh-huh.
Never. On the rare occasion, if he did go through my phone, he would open my Instagram and he would say, "Why did you post this picture?" And he would poke me until I cried my eyes out, saying that I want attention. All you want is attention. You're so pretentious. Why did you post this selfie? All you want is validation from people, and he would make me cry. He was evil. This man was so evil. I was thinking about this today. I was like, this man was so fucking evil, and I regret not punching him right in the face. I should have punched him right in the face, but I didn't. Damn. Anyway, so he we went to the petrol station, gas station in America.
Mm-hmm.
We went to the gas station, and I we went to the gas station, and I got out of the car and I left my phone in the car because, of course, I did. And I went into the gas station to buy something, and he went through
Yes.
my phone. So he went into the dating app, and the last message this Brazilian man had sent me was, "I am obsessed with your beep." That should be a hook for a TikTok. I'm gonna make a TikTok tomorrow. I'm obsessed with your beep. That could be the actual caption for your YouTube video. I am obsessed with your beep, right? So because I blocked him on the phone and on the calling thing, been messaging me on the dating app, but I didn't realize because I was just like I hadn't gone back into the dating app since him. I blocked him, and then I only really went on a date because I wanted to feel pretty. I didn't want an open relationship. I didn't want to sleep with other men. I just wanted him to love me. I did not want anybody else, right? I
Mm-hmm.
cheat on him. I didn't want to be with anybody else. I only did the open relationship because I literally wanted attention because he was not giving it to me. So I
Because
was
he
like, you
wasn't
want
giving
an
it
open
to you.
relationship? I booked my flight. I'm going to go on a date with this guy because he looks like a Greek statue. How can I not go on a date with this guy? Um, and he read the messages. When I got back in the car, his face, oh my God, that's when I should have punched him. That's when I should have punched him. His face was a picture. Um, he looked at me and he said, "What is this?" I said, "Oh, that's the open relationship." That's the open relationship.
That you, sir, said we should be in because I was too insecure. I couldn't. That's my security. This is what security looks like.
Brazilian security. Um, so he got upset. He he dropped me off at my friend's house and he said, "You can stay sleep here tonight. I never want to see you ever again."
Mm,
And he drove off. Right, so
mm.
I'm at my friend's house. 10 minutes later, he calls me. "I'm coming to get you." "What do you mean?" "Yeah, I'm coming to get you. I need to talk to you." So he didn't even get to his house. He turned around, came back, picked me up, took me back to his house, and he said, "I love you and I don't want to be in an open relationship." By this time, I'd booked my flight to go home,
Yes.
and we were in love again. To be continued. Because and then I go home, we do a long distance relationship. He cheats on me with a sugar baby. He decides he wants an open relationship. He gets into another relationship with another girl. She FaceTimes me. She finds out that I exist. She thinks I'm the crazy ex. She goes ballistic. She throws a bottle at him. She cries on the phone. Yeah. Then I go back to Australia. He breaks up with her. We get back together. And then 6 months later, he makes an OnlyFans. He decides that women don't pay for porn, so he targets men. He remembers he remembers that the sugar baby girlfriend that he had, she had sugar daddies, right? So she was a sugar baby. She slept with old men for money. So he went onto the same sugar daddy site that she goes onto, and he found a sugar daddy who owned an insurance company, who was looking for a boy to mentor, who was gay, obviously. The guy was gay, the sugar daddy. He was looking for a young guy to mentor. My ex-boyfriend, the devil, he was an insurance broker. So as soon as he saw that this man wanted to mentor a young man, he owned an insurance company, he decided that he was going to pretend to be gay, pretend to be gay, and go with this man and take over his business, right? And he was going to use that money to fund our relationship. So we were going to, this was his plan. We were going to stay together. He was going to go with this sugar daddy and he was going to send me money.
Natalie got a whole nother hour of conversation about this same foolishness in this one situationship. Because remember, these ain't relationships. Like one of our other guests said, if it's a relationship, we got to be able to relate to each other. And baby, it's hard to relate to people who only think about themselves and ain't studying nobody else. But I thank you for tuning in. I thank you for continuing to show up and share your love. And I pray that you got something from this story, this message that will help you be a better person, or at least make some changes in your life, or at least share, if anything else, with somebody else who might be able to benefit from it. Sister Natalie, we appreciate you as always for your beautiful, magnificent, glorious light, the beauty on the other side of the foolishness that you have experienced. And to everyone else, I just thank you for showing up, showing out, because you know what we're going to do. We're going to keep showing up. We're going to keep sharing our love. We're going to keep shining our light. We're going to rise above these insecurities, release the burdens of shame and guilt, and revive our God-given power, purpose, and passion. The Conf1dence Way. So in the meantime, in between time, you know what it is. We gone. Pew, 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 pew.